There comes a moment rare and irreversible when the heavens shift and the unseen begins to press itself into the visible. That moment for you has arrived, not as a thunderclap, but as a soft and steady unfolding. Without announcement, yet full of divine weight, your story is turning. Everything that has felt stalled, stuck, or forgotten is being stirred again, not by your efforts, but by the breath of God moving beneath the surface. Where you once saw delay, there will now be motion. What felt like silence will soon echo with answers. This is not just a change in circumstance, it is a turning of fate, a reversal long written in the mind of God now beginning to unfold in time. As C.S. Lewis reminds us in letters to Malcolm chiefly on prayer. You don't have a soul, you are a soul. You have a body. Your soul, eternal and chosen, is at the heart of this divine shift, awakening to the purpose for which it was created. The atmosphere around you is changing. It is subtle, but sacred. You may not yet see the signs with your eyes, but your spirit feels it. The stillness is not empty. It is pregnant with purpose. Doors that remained shut, no matter how hard you knocked, are now unlocking of their own accord. Not because you have pushed harder, but because heaven has decided, the season has shifted. Your name is being whispered in places you've never stepped into. Rooms are being prepared for your arrival. Opportunities are aligning not by coincidence, but by divine orchestration. C.S. Lewis in The Weight of Glory declares, "There are no ordinary people. You have never talked to a mere mortal. You are no mere mortal in this moment. Your life is a sacred stage where heaven's favor is preparing to unfold, marking you as one set apart for a purpose far greater than you have yet imagined. This house, your home, is becoming more than shelter. It is becoming altar. The walls that once witnessed your waiting will now witness your rising. The floor beneath your feet will soon bear the weight of blessings you dared not even pray for. You are not simply being visited by favor, you are being overtaken by it. And though your hands may still be empty now, they will not remain so for long. For what is coming will not trickle in it, will pour. What once seemed delayed is about to arrive with such force. It will feel like all of heaven has turned toward you in a single unified motion. There is a time set apart in the rhythm of heaven, a month not counted by ordinary calendars, but marked in the architecture of eternity. That time is now. You have entered the 7th month, and though the world may see it as just another span of days, heaven has inscribed it with far greater meaning. In the language of the Spirit, 7 is not a number, it is a declaration. It speaks of completion of things long planted, finally coming into bloom, of promises, no longer pending but fulfilled in full measure. It is the divine signal that the waiting season has served its purpose, and the gate that was closed is ready to swing open. C.S. Lewis in The Problem of Pain writes, "God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our consciences, but shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world. The delays, the silences, the trials you endured were not abandonment. They were God's megaphone, shouting through your pain to prepare you for this moment of fulfillment. If your spirit bears witness to this word, if something in you says, 'This is for me,' then mark this moment. Write 77 in the comments as a sign of your agreement, your surrender, and your readiness. Let it be a prophetic act, a public whisper into eternity I receive. For those who respond in faith, this will not be just another message. It will be a doorway into divine fulfillment. This is not like the months before. You may sense it already, the shift in the air, the stillness that feels expectant rather than empty. It is as if the atmosphere itself has slowed to listen, to watch, to make room for the hand of God to move. In this 7th month, there is an opening taking place not just around you but within you. What you thought had been delayed, denied, or forgotten is being gathered in the unseen places, reformed by grace, and now prepared for release. This release will not come with noise or chaos. It will unfold like morning light, quiet, steady, and impossible to ignore. Do not be surprised if things begin to move without your effort, if doors begin to open that you never knocked on, or if people you once lost touch with suddenly return with divine timing. You may find yourself in conversations you didn't expect, receiving answers you didn't ask for in that moment, but which perfectly align with the cries of your heart from seasons past. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. They are signs that the gate has opened and that heaven has begun to pour into your life in ways both seen and unseen. The 7th month is not just about receiving blessings. It is about recognizing that you are standing in the fulfillment of something heaven has long been preparing. You are no longer on the edge of breakthrough. You are in it. And this breakthrough does not come as a reward for striving, but as a result of surrender. The gate does not respond to noise, effort, or panic. It responds to obedience, stillness, and trust. You have remained when others walked away. You have stayed soft when life tried to harden you. You have waited not perfectly, but faithfully. And that is enough. So when the subtle encounter comes, a dream that lingers longer than usual, a word spoken that feels strangely precise, a moment in your day that suddenly feels thick with presence, pay attention. These are not random moments. They are sacred instructions, quiet announcements from the throne room of God. You are being visited by favor, not just to receive, but to step into alignment with something far greater than what you could have imagined. This is the month of the opening. This is the moment long whispered in your spirit. This is the gate, and it is open. When heaven begins to move, it rarely announces itself with thunder. Instead, it chooses the gentle, the quiet, the almost unnoticeable details of daily life to deliver its most powerful revelations. For the one whose spirit is awake, these signs do not need volume, they need only presence, and they will come, not as flashes of lightning or writing on the wall, but as moments that feel heavier than the rest of your day, encounters that carry more weight than their words, should allow patterns that appear too precise to be random. These are not accidents. These are heaven's fingerprints. You will begin to notice the shift, not just in the circumstances around you, but in how your spirit responds to them. Things that once left you anxious will now leave you still. Conversations that once seemed ordinary will feel anointed. You will sense that something larger is unfolding behind the veil of what you can see. And though your mind may not fully understand, your spirit will recognize it immediately. This is it. This is the beginning of what was promised. In the days ahead, you may be awakened in the night by dreams that carry a strange clarity, not always with images you fully understand, but with an emotional weight that lingers long after you rise. Do not dismiss them. Write them down. Pray over them. Heaven often speaks in symbols, in glimpses, in pieces, revealing just enough to call you forward without overwhelming the path. There may also be people new or returning who speak words they didn't plan to say yet. Those words strike something deep in your spirit. Again, pay attention. The language of heaven is layered, and it often flows through the mouths of those unaware they are being used. Even nature may begin to participate in this divine alignment. You may find unusual moments of beauty that pause you mid-thought, a beam of sunlight breaking through dark clouds at the exact moment you feel discouraged, a sudden breeze during prayer, or the unexpected appearance of light or color that stirs your soul for reasons you cannot explain. Do not brush these moments aside. The Creator who formed the stars still uses them to guide those he has chosen, but the most undeniable sign will not come from without, it will rise from within. A holy stillness will begin to grow in you, one that cannot be explained by logic or tied to your external conditions. Even if nothing has changed on the outside, you will feel peace where there was restlessness, clarity where there was confusion, and a gentle boldness beginning to take root in your soul. This is the sign that heaven has not only moved around you, but through you. This is how you will know. And when you know, do not second guess it. Do not wait for confirmation from others who are not called to see what you see. Move with reverence, but move. Follow the signs, honor the whisper, and trust that what has begun is not a feeling, it is a holy unfolding one that will not be stopped. When heaven touches one life, it rarely stops there. The blessing that rests upon the chosen one is never isolated. It flows outward like light spilling through a once closed door, illuminating everything it touches. What is coming upon you is not meant only for you. It is meant to pass through you to heal and restore what has long been wounded in the house you occupy and the blood you carry. The grace now being released over your life will saturate the walls of your dwelling, reach into hidden corners of your family's history, and begin to rewrite patterns that once seemed unbreakable. Your home is being consecrated, not just the physical space, but the atmosphere within it. Where there was once heaviness, there will be peace. Where arguments and confusion echoed, there will be stillness and understanding. Even those who live with you, those who may not yet speak the language of faith or know how to pray, will begin to feel a shift. You will see it in their eyes, in the softening of their hearts, in the way they begin to rest differently in your presence. They may not be able to name it, but you will know they are standing under the overflow of what heaven is doing in you. For some in your bloodline, this will be the turning point they never saw coming. Generational wounds, cycles of fear, addiction, loss, or silence are being brought to an end, not because someone figured it out, but because you were willing to carry the burden long enough for it to break. Your obedience, your endurance, your hidden prayers whispered in quiet rooms, these are the seeds that have reached heaven. And heaven has answered, not with theory, but with transformation, not with promises alone, but with presence. You may notice that even the old memories, the places that once stirred pain, begin to lose their sting. Your perspective will shift. What once felt like scars will become stories, testimonies of how far grace has carried you. You are not erasing your history. You are reclaiming it. And as you do, the atmosphere of your lineage will begin to change, not through effort or confrontation, but through the quiet power of divine renewal. You are becoming the gate through which blessing enters, not just into your home, but into your family tree. This is a holy inheritance. It will not always be loud or dramatic. Often it will come softly in the healing of relationships you thought were lost, in the surprising tenderness of someone who once resisted love, in the quiet restoration of joy in places where grief had built its nest. Watch for it. Cherish it. Speak life over it. You are not only being blessed, you are becoming a blessing, and generations to come will live differently because of what you allowed God to begin in you. There comes a moment in every divine calling when the one who has been rescued must rise, not simply to be safe, but to become a sanctuary for others. This is that moment for you. The season of barely holding on is over. You are not called to merely survive the storm. You are called to build in the aftermath. The blessing that rests on your life is not an escape route. It is a commissioning. You are not just a recipient of mercy. You are now a carrier of its purpose. You have walked through fire that few understood, endured seasons that felt invisible to others, remained faithful in places that would have caused others to flee. What you endured was not wasted. It was not punishment. It was preparation. Heaven did not forget you during the silence. It was forming in you a foundation strong enough to carry weight beyond yourself. You were not buried. You were planted. And now what was planted in secret is beginning to rise in the light. But know this, with blessing comes assignment. You are no longer free to live casually. The call on your life requires focused discernment and a deeper level of surrender. You are being trusted with territory, whether in your home, your work, your community, or your spiritual legacy. This territory will not be claimed by ambition or charm, but by consistency, humility, and obedience. You were chosen not for comfort, but for commission. You have been set apart as a steward of presence, a guardian of light in places still cloaked in shadow. This house you live in is not just a place to rest. It is a ground zero for renewal. It is becoming a lighthouse, a refuge, a gathering space for peace and clarity. Your very life will become a shelter for the weary, a quiet invitation for others to return to God without even knowing why they're drawn. You won't need to raise your voice. The stillness around you will speak. The fruit of your endurance will feed more than just you. But this requires a shift from asking, "What can I receive?" to praying, "What am I being called to carry?" You are being called to carry the weight of promise, to intercede when no one else is watching, to build what others will benefit from, even if they never know your name. This is not a burden, it is an honor. You have been entrusted with something holy. You are not just surviving, you are establishing a place for glory to dwell. So step forward, not as one who barely made it, but as one who has been appointed. Heaven did not bring you this far just to bless you. It brought you this far to entrust you. And what you build in this season will echo far beyond the walls you see. It will ripple through generations. It will stand as evidence that light still chooses to dwell among men. Now that the truth has been revealed and the invitation made clear, all that remains is surrender. You have walked through the unveiling, you have seen the signs, felt the shift, and recognized that this moment was not ordinary. It was appointed, but revelation on its own is not the destination. It is the doorway. And beyond that doorway stands your response, not a performance, not a ritual, but a quiet turning of the heart back to the one who has never turned away from you. This is not the end of the journey. It is the altar at the center of it. Let this prayer rise not from fear or striving, but from a sacred stillness within you, the kind that knows I am seen. I am chosen. I am not here by accident. God of silence and fire of shadow and morning light of mercy that lingers longer than our pain. You who stayed when the room was empty and the prayers were dry, I come before you not as one who has figured it all out, but as one who cannot deny you have always been near. You were there in the ache, in the delay, in the shut doors and the heavy nights. I thought I was forgotten. I was being formed. You did not abandon me in the waiting. You used the waiting to build within me what the blessing would one day rest upon. And now in this sacred 7th month, the month of completion, fulfillment, and divine unveiling, I recognize that I stand not at the edge, but in the midst of what you've been preparing all along. Thank you, Lord, for using what felt like rejection to redirect me, for using every no to turn me toward the one yes that carried your glory, for every silence that wasn't abandonment but alignment. You whispered when I had forgotten how to hope. You held me when I didn't know how to pray. You hid me not to punish me but to prepare me. And now, as heaven shifts and the atmosphere trembles with quiet expectancy, I no longer approach this season with hands that grasp, but with a heart that yields. I do not come to demand a blessing. I come to become one. So, Father, pour out, not drops, but floods. Let this not be a trickle of favor, but a downpour of divine orchestration. Let the blessing not only fill my hands, but overflow through my life, into every room I walk, into every soul I encounter, and every generation that follows me. Let my home be more than shelter. Let it be altar. Let these walls carry your weight. Let this ground witness more than survival. Let it testify to resurrection. Where heaviness once lived, let peace now dwell. Where silence once echoed, let the sound of fulfilled promises rise. And still I ask for more, not more things, but more of you. More presence, more clarity, more courage to carry what I was born to bear. Shift my prayers from what can I receive to what have I been entrusted to carry. Let me build what others will one day rest in. Let me protect what others don't yet see. Let me pray in the unseen what will one day be shouted in the open. Let this 7th month not be marked by coincidence, but by commission. I receive not just the fulfillment of promises, I accept the weight of purpose. Consecrate my words, Lord, so they carry spiritual weight. Consecrate my home, so it becomes a refuge. Consecrate my stillness, so that even my silence becomes sanctuary. Where once I merely survived, let me now become a sanctuary for others. I declare that I will no longer move from striving, but from surrender. I will no longer wait for confirmation from those who weren't called to see. I will trust the whisper. I will follow the signs. I will move when you move. not because I feel ready, but because you have declared it so. So now, as this 7th month unfolds with sacred precision, I step forward not as one who barely made it, but as one who was appointed for such a time as this. I step through the door you have opened, not as a beggar, but as a beloved, not to perform, but to partner, not to impress, but to obey. The mantle resting on me is not light, but it is holy. The fire in my bones was not born of ambition, but of assignment. I was not called to comfort, I was called to carry presence, to bear your glory, in places still wrapped in shadow. And so, with a spirit made whole by mercy, and a heart awakened by delay, I offer you not just my plans, but my posture, not just my needs, but my yes. I no longer resist the weight. I receive it. I no longer beg for favor. I become its vessel. I no longer pray for escape. I prepare to build. What you've begun in me will not stop with me. Let it ripple through generations. Let it echo beyond these walls. Let it be said that in the 7th month heaven moved and I moved with it. Amen.